Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right. Happy Friday to you guys. Welcome to almost the end of February. This is Coach Lois with another monologue episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I am your podcast host, and I am super excited to be connected to you guys today. And unfortunately, I've still been having some issues with live streaming into Facebook, and I don't know what the answer is. And I just want to acknowledge and apologize to you guys that it's been problematic. So right now I'm just live streaming to the only place that I know that works for sure is my YouTube channel. So so bummed that this keeps happening, and I'm going to keep working on figuring out what's happening with that. So thank you for your patience. And if you're tuning in this on the replay, I just want to say happy Friday, or happy whatever day it is that you're tuning in on this, because this is a continuation of my first part, which was last week, Friday. And I'm actually going to just do a quick little, see if I can fix this. Apologize, guys, for this. I'm going to try to see if I can get this going still on Facebook. Just bear with me 1 second here. And technical difficulties, right? While I'm doing that, last week I talked about, do you share your belief statement? And if you haven't been working with me as a client, you're probably like, what the heck? What the heck is a belief statement? So at the end of the day, with a belief statement, it's something that I teach. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that is really part of that step number one in the Kofi sales formula, which is being able to lead with your truth, lead with your passion, lead with your purpose, right? So within that, just wanted to kind of bring it back to that. Last week we talked about the belief statement starts with the mindset of your 5 W's: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. So if you don't have a very clear perspective on that, you could be really lost in your business. I actually have a 30-minute video of me training on the 4 steps of the Kofi formula. And step number 1 is mindset. And I do kind of chuckle when people say, gosh, you focus so much on that and not enough on steps number 3 and number 4, which are, number 3 is, how do you get leads into your flow every day? How do you have daily income producing, lead generating conversations? And then step number 4 is, how do you follow up? However, most people want to skip step 1, which is the mindset, which is part of what we're talking about here. And then step number 2 is how to manage your time properly, how to choose your time wisely. There's no such thing as time management. There's only how do you choose to spend your time. And from there, obviously, when you have steps 1 and 2 as your foundation, you have your house built on rock instead of sand. You've heard that parable, that analogy before. You got to have a strong foundation. Any house, if you're a construction worker, there's a lot of time spent on building a strong foundation. And steps number 1 and number 2 are that strong foundation. And steps 3 and 4 are kind of like gravy on the mashed potatoes. Because if you just focus on randomly going onto Facebook, or randomly going on LinkedIn, or randomly making phone calls or whatever, and you don't know your 5 W's, then you're probably wasting a lot of time and getting frustrated, exhausted. And then probably also, I'm going to guess, I can almost guess your income if you don't have your 5 W's and then your belief statement, which is what we're going to show and talk about today. And this is kind of a coaching exercise. The reason I do these monologues now is so that you're not just hearing another inspirational speaker with another great idea or great wisdom to share, which is great. In fact, the next week I have someone coming back on the show as my guest on Friday. But just making sure that you know that ultimately the whole goal is for you to learn and take action from these monologues. So you're going to get an experience of coaching and then homework. Okay. So last week's homework was working on the 5 W's. Your who is your target audience. Your what is what are you leading them to? What are you saying to get them to be piqued in their interest to check you out? The where, of course, is where are you finding them? Where, more or less, where are you taking them from and putting them into your email list or your webinar or your lead magnet or your whatever. Who, what, when is, of course, when are you doing your daily lead generation? Also, when can they expect to get a result from working with you? And then why? Why should they work with you? Why should they care? Right? Everybody's favorite radio station, for better or for worse, is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Right? And so, and also really the core of that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? So I'm going to go ahead, and I know, unfortunately, because Facebook is blocking me again, and it must be because I have something really important to say. But the show must go on. Just want to reiterate that this is something you can ask questions, you can comment below, and then at the end, I am going to invite you to my next masterclass on exactly how you can put this into practice. Okay. So I know sometimes it's really difficult to do these things on your own, but a masterclass is meant to be that thing that helps you get to where you're going faster. So what is a belief statement? Once you have your 5 W's, and I'm going to share my screen. So if you're in iTunes or what have you, I'll make sure that the YouTube, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's where you get the visual. Again, normally you'd also get it on Facebook, but hello, Facebook is causing me more challenges again, but it's all good. I got to flow with it. So here's my belief statement. And keep in mind, I have a longer one. I have more of a minute long version. And I'm going to unpack how I got to this belief statement with my 5 W's. So hopefully you can see my screen. If you're listening, just make sure you take copious notes. But this is my belief statement as a magnetic mind sales coach. And keep in mind, this is a narrow and short version. You can have a wider and longer version, and I'll explain. But I'm going to take you through the 5 W's in here, and then I want you to ask yourself, how does this apply to you? So people buy you. They buy your why. They buy clear messaging. Confusion doesn't sell. So I've seen this time and time again where someone will be selling one thing. It doesn't work out for them. So they give up and they go sell something else. And then they give up and they go sell something else. They don't have a system in place. And quite honestly, they're lacking mentorship. Probably don't have coaches who understand that you need to spend a whole year or two going all in on one thing to get lasting results. It's like fitness. Yo-yo dieting is real. I was there because people don't believe enough in themselves and they don't believe enough in the program. So with a belief statement and clearly defining your 5 W's and having that in your messaging, your marketing, your infomercial, when you're visiting a networking group, so on and so forth, you can have a huge transformation. Huge. And more people will attract to you like bees to honey because you're clear. You're articulate. You're not confused. And you come off way more confident, even if you're shaking inside and you're nervous. And trust me, I still get that, even after 22 years in sales. However, having this as my anchor everywhere I go and on my LinkedIn profile and Facebook profile, etc., this is money. So as a sales coach, coaches and healers hire me. So there's my who. Now, keep in mind, those are my top two target markets. I actually have a lower level program. I'm going to talk about my free 30-day program you can jump on before it expires on Monday, February 28th. I can actually work with a large population of salespeople. However, for my high ticket programs, there's riches and niches, right? I have a very, very narrow group of people that I can excel at because I actually am that person. I'm a coach and a healer in my own right. I heal people's sales wounds, fears, and overcoming them is a healing process. I got to be honest. I had that myself with a lot of fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. So I help do that with my magnetic mind certification and my 12-week year certification. However, that's whole nother thing, right? And you won't see that inside of my belief statement because people don't want to hear all the blah 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 blah, right? The lady, the teacher from Peanuts. The kids didn't want to hear that. So the public will give you feedback. That's the other thing. This isn't a one and done deal. You go out and test it to the marketplace. So it took me about a year to figure out who I really wanted to narrow the field. Who are my top two? So if you don't know yet, you could say women in business. You could say if you're in the health and wellness industry, maybe you specialize in acupuncture. Maybe you have a certain demographic that you work with. Are you also global? I could put a lot more in here. I just kept it really simple and basic for you. So you start out with who. Who do you work with? They hire me to, where do I take them? What is my promise? My promise is, my what is to help them live their best life and create 10 to 20K months every month in a balanced way, coming from a spiritual service-based mindset, creating limitless leads and limitless lives through permission-based sales, all while experiencing their best health, their best wealth. Bottom line, I help people work smarter, not harder. And there's a lot more where that came from, but this is like the 10-second Cliff Notes version. Because in this day and age of instant gratification, it used to be the 10-second rule where people would lose like focus after 10 seconds. Like a lot of you have probably already lost focus a few times because you might be on Facebook at the same time. You might be scrolling your email. I would encourage you to just be present, right? And do one thing at a time. I still have that whole multitasking syndrome thing because I think I can. And it's true, you really can't. But I put in there my 5 W's. So my who right now is coaches and healers in this statement. My what is my promise is to help them create 10 to 20K months in a balanced way. Part of my why is also in here because I want to help people not be afraid of sales. I want them to come from more of a spiritual service. Sales is service to me. And helping them create limitless leads, limitless lives through permission-based sales, because that is what changed my life, especially in the pandemic. I don't do Facebook ads. I don't coach on paid advertising. In fact, I encourage people not to do it if they don't already have a system in place. If they don't have a lead generation and sales system in place, paid advertising is just, you're bleeding. You're bleeding money for no reason. And you can argue with me because I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I got X amount of leads and I made X amount of sales from this ad. Do you know their whole story? How many times did they spend thousands of dollars and lose it before they finally made something? It's like someone who gets good at gambling in Vegas. They probably lost their shirt for a few times, right? So I'm really passionate about helping people not do that. I don't say all that in here. I keep it very basic because, again, people only have a 3-second attention span. So at the very least, I start out with something compelling. Coaches and healers hire me to live their best life and create 10 to 20K months. Very clear, very succinct. And then that goes on. The whole thing is about 10 seconds. So that's like another way of calling it. It's your 10-second elevator pitch or infomercial. It's also just enough words. This is actually too many characters for LinkedIn. I checked. On LinkedIn, you're going to have even a shorter, and your Twitter profile, your Instagram profile, all of that kind of stuff. You got to be very, I'm not like a social media expert on profiles. Okay. However, this is what you can put as your bio on your landing page. This is what you can put in if you wanted to, even in your email signature. LinkedIn profile is my favorite because you can have a longer version in your about section. Now, the only thing that is kind of missing from here, I've got my who, I've got my what is my promise, what am I leading to isn't on here. So like my webinars, my lead magnets, all of that kind of stuff, that's not in there. When I did that last week, that was more for to make sure you had an anchor of what you're going to say and what you're going to lead them to. The where, of course, is not on here. Just want to clarify. If you watched last week's, if you didn't watch last week's episode, you got to go back and watch that because that's part one. This is part two. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you have a plan of where you're going to find people and stay on one platform, please, for at least 90 to 120, maybe even, those, 12-week year is my thing. I always speak in 12-week year, like do one 12-week year on one platform and make sure you feel like you got it going before going to a new one. So that might take 6 months. Heck, if you're really committed, I think you got to really perfect something. It's going to take you a whole year. However, if you're following the 12-week year model, you can actually get a lot more done. I focused on Facebook for 3 months, hardcore, all in, before I went over to LinkedIn. And the only reason I switched that quickly also to another platform, I had help. I had virtual assistants who could help check my Facebook Messenger and reply when it was appropriate, or just help me kind of clean the inbox, just like I have them cleaning my email. So, and I already shared with you, I have my why in there. So the who, the what, the when. I didn't actually have the deadline on this. But I do have it on my LinkedIn profile. My when do they expect to get results? I always say you got to work with me at least 6 months. Occasionally, I have someone work with me for 3 months, but that's a very, very big exception. They have to qualify. Otherwise, I'm like, you know what? I'm not a magic pill. I'm not a quick fix. So you got to also explain that. Have the posture and belief in yourself. Now, I do have free 30-day trial promos for my coaching. I have certain things that are free. However, when someone's really committed to transformation and change and they want to get to those 10 to 20K months, I make it very abundantly clear on a discovery call or a strategy session with them that, this is not a magic pill, not a quick fix. If you want change and true transformation, here's my standard of excellence. So you also got to have those healthy boundaries, and you can even incorporate that into your belief statement. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, I talk about, 6 to 12 months. And if you have a guarantee, you can say that you have a guarantee. I have my thoughts on guarantees as well. But we're not going to go into training on that today. So if you have questions, please comment below. That was kind of a lot. If you're like, oh my gosh, Lois, I really need your help on this. I would love help. We're going to be doing this together on March 10th. My 90-minute masterclass, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's West Coast time as I'm in San Diego. And the link will be in the show notes. So if you can hop on and join in the fun on that, please do. It's free, and it's the only masterclass I have scheduled for quite some time, at least probably until April or May. I don't know. I take that back, at least till May, because it's going to be March. So if you want to march in like a lion and improve your mindset, improve and or write a belief statement, improve your messaging, which helps impact your lead generation and all of the things, you're not going to want to miss that. Also, I still have, if you hear this in time, Monday, February 28th, my free 30-day membership that's valued at $2,000 a month expires at midnight, February 28th. So if you want to take advantage of that right now, and this link is good, it's just the price will change. Right now, it's free. 30 days of coaching with me for free. If that sounds appealing to you, go sign up at loiscoffey.com/membership. loiscoffey.com/membership, and you can sign up. It's going to be $197 a month as of March 1st also. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to get grandfathered in at Lois's low rock bottom deal pricing at $97 a month, and it's cancel anytime. However, I am bringing in other coaches. I am bringing in guest speakers, experts on anything that fits within my Kofi Sales Formula framework. And we're also having a speed networking event that's going to be pretty amazing. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Please share this with your community. Again, I'm so sorry that it didn't turn out that it worked out on Facebook, but it's all perfect. All good, no stress. So next week, we're going to have an amazing guest. I don't normally have nonprofits on my show, but I am really passionate in this person. I was on her podcast. Lena Sebula is going to be talking about sex trafficking and her journey and her story of overcoming her experiences in life and how that's made her an amazing mom, wife, and just a passionate, faith-driven woman. So until next Friday, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Lois Kofi signing off for now. Have a great week.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiskofi.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.